Yeah, behind the scenes, how you getting it.
That's how you do it. Alright. It's that time of the week that our viewers come to seek to watch our show about fantasy football and a little sprinkle of sports talk. So
I didn't know you were going to do this.
And relax as we talk about the NFL draft and the biggest shockers and surprises, because it's Pigskin Dynasty, baby, your podcast for all things Dynasty Fantasy Football with a sprinkle of sports talks. I'm your host with the most, Matt Phillips. Alongside me, as always, is the unofficial fantasy guru. I got nothing clever, so Scott, say hi.
Scott Euler. Okay, I gotta ask you, did you pre-plan that, or did you just freestyle it right now?
I just freestyled it, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Was that pretty good?
Yeah, I thought you did that plan. I thought you had that planned ahead of time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's all right. Well, the big news is the NFL
Next
draft.
M&M over here.
Yeah, right. NFL draft is officially over with. A lot of big shockers in this year's draft, I thought. We're going to get to that later, but just for the purposes, we're going to go through round one and talk about the fantasy relevant players that got drafted in round one. So we're going to start off with the first overall pick of the NFL draft, which was a little bit of a shocker for everyone, Baker Mayfield. Scott, your thoughts?
Baker Mayfield, I thought Sam Darnold should have been the pick. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as Baker goes, the offense around him, it's good. I love it. I love it for David Njoku. I'm an Njoku owner. But Baker Mayfield, I have concerns and worries about him playing in the AFC North in the cold weather, being a smaller guy.
Mm-hmm.
So and then playing physical defenses like the Steelers and Ravens and even Bengals, they got physical defense too. So I wonder if he's really going to hold up in the weather like that. But outside of that team was in Miami. I'd love it. Take all the players, put them in Miami.
I think people are giving Baker Mayfield a hard rap because of his size. I think the size is kind of underrated in terms of the football field. But if you can build an offense around the type of player he is, like what the Titans did with Mariota, I mean, the guy can succeed. So, I mean, you have good weapons. You got Josh Gordon, which I'm his owner, so I definitely like that. I think he's a gunslinger. He likes to throw it deep, so I think that's perfect for Josh Gordon.
I wonder how the dynamic between Baker Mayfield, off-field problems, Josh Gordon, off-field problems, and now Antonio Callaway, off-field problems. It picks him up in the fourth round, putting them on the same team. I wonder how that's going to play out.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Blitz the League, like all those characters that are like convicts and felons and everything. Yeah. But anyways,
on to the second pick. The Giants, as expected, picked my guy Saquon Barkley. Now, we already touched base on this. Awesome landing spot. I love it. Plenty of other players around the team to take the, focus off of Saquon, but Saquon can still, put up points in that offense. What do you think about it? You on the same page?
Yeah. With that offense, I think it's amazing. He's going to probably be top 12 fantasy running back if he stays healthy.
Yeah. Don't want to go too far in depth with this one. We've already talked about it a bunch, so move on to the next one. Sam Darnold going to the Jets at 3.
I wondered if Mark Sanchez called him.
What? He did.
He did?
He did. He's going to
always like, don't mess this up, dude. They're pretty hard out there in the thing. But Sam Darnold, I think that's perfect. He is a gunslinger type. He's going to start day one. I think he's going to be there for quite some time. I think he has a mentality. If he just mentally fixes his mistakes. He did throw a lot of interceptions at USC, but that was part of the reason, because the second year he had no weapons around him. Lost it off his lesson, lost Juju Smith-Schuster, all these weapons, so I think...
I think he has the maturity and mentality to work in New York.
Plus,
he has that Derek Jeter kind of vibe.
Yes. Plus, he has Josh McCown, which projected to be the Week 1 starter. So that's a pretty good guy to at least learn from. So.
All right. Next, the Bills trade up to 7 overall, and they don't give up both of their first-round picks like we kept projecting in our mocks. And they take Josh Allen, the big, strong kid from Wyoming. Now, we don't like Josh Allen. I do have to add, in Buffalo, being a cold weather city, cold weather town, being a big, strong guy like that, he can, spin the ball, cut it through the elements and weather they had in Buffalo.
56% completion rating, and he had a really bad
Hey, what is he? He's the opposite of Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, that's true.
So usually teams can go with some opposites. Give him a little bit of time to develop. He can compete for day 1 too.
All right, so
I think it'd be interesting.
10th overall pick, the Cardinals.
Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen.
My favorite landing spot of the quarterbacks.
I think he definitely has the best potential in terms of first-year quarterbacks.
I love putting him in the dome. Love pairing him with Arizona. Johnson. They picked up Christian Kirk in the second round. He got Larry Fitzgerald to kind of work with, and then David Johnson on the backfield.
I heard reports that they played when they were like younger. Like they were on the same football camp or something. Christian Kirk and Josh Rosen.
Wouldn't surprise me, they're both 5-star athletes, so and they came out about the same time. The next pick so that was 10th overall for Josh Rosen. The next fantasy relevant pick isn't until 24th overall when the Panthers take the first receiver off the board, DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. What do you think?
As far as DJ Moore goes, I liked him coming in. I'm glad to see him be the first receiver off the board. So that kind of just confirms where I was at with him within our wide receiver ranks. However, putting him with the Panthers, Cam Newton, I don't think we're going to get prolific numbers from him, but I think you'll get solid, good numbers. So putting him as a top 6 or 8 rookie pick, I think is a good spot to have him in.
It's very similar. I personally thought Calvin Ridley would be the first receiver off the board, but DJ Moore was. Speaking of next pick,
the next pick is actually Hayden Hurst going to the Ravens.
Jackson boy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Hayden Hurst. I think he's a little bit older player. And then they did pick up Mark Andrews in the 3rd or 4th round. I can't remember. So having both of them on team, I just think that limits what they can do year one. Did you want to touch on Hayden Hurst?
Well, I mean, the age is a big difference because usually these tight end players aren't going to be like relevant in the first year. They're going to take some time to get out. So by the time he's maybe fantasy relevant, he might be 27, 28 years old.
Right. So the next pick, as predicted in our mock, the Atlanta Falcons take Calvin Ridley.
I love it.
I like it too. I'm not a Calvin Ridley fan. We had a discussion of that on our podcast, but I think having him as number 2, that's how I see him as a number 2 receiver, playing under Julio, I think that's a really good fit for him, and the Atlanta offense should be fun.
But you heard that Julio delete everything off his Instagram. So is he going to be on the team? You don't know. He could be a wide receiver 1 on that team. You just don't know.
No. Then the next pick, this is the shocker of the draft. The second running back comes off the board, and it is not Darius Geis. The Seattle Seahawks, at 27 overall, take Rashad Penny.
And I was pissed.
Out of San Diego State.
Because this is the guy that I was going to pick. 1.04.
That was early. Now, with this landing spot and the draft pedigree,
he's going up to 1.02 now.
He is in the 1.02 discussion. I'm not saying take him there. I'm saying you can if you want, but he is in consideration with guys.
Here's the one thing I just want to say about Penny. In San Diego State, he had a weak offensive line. He always made people miss right at the line of scrimmage, and I think that's what's going to happen in Seattle. Seattle's offensive line is in shambles, so if he does anything, he's going to have to break a lot of tackles at the offensive line. So, and
his best attributes being a 6 foot, 220 plus pound back, but his catching ability out of the backfield is what attracts me to him. So he is somewhere between 1.02 and 1.04.
I also want to say that the B hasn't on him because Donald Pumphrey was in the same school as him, San Diego State, and nothing.
So and then 31 overall, to me is a bit of a surprise. Sony Michel goes to the Patriots. There's a lot of reports about his health, his knee being bone on bone.
Well, that's definitely not.
With the Patriots, they're not going to invest in a guy like that. If that were the case. So Sony Michel going to the first round, 31 overall, just reconfirms, his health and what we thought of the player going in. He's a top 6 pick.
Actually, I have him going down in terms of just usage because
Patriots
backfield's messy and that health issues is concerned. I love that guy. I've been talking this whole time that he's like the next Calvin Kamara, but now I'm worried now because you got James Watt, Rex Burkhead, Mike Gillislee is still there. And look at Deion Lewis last year. He didn't make a start until week 6 because Bill Belichick is very meticulous with his running back. So I'm very hesitant into the location of Sony Michel.
And with the final pick of the first round, the Ravens trade up. They get back into the first round, and they draft Lamar Jackson. As far as quarterback landing spots, he's likely going to start the season behind Flacco and probably play the whole season behind Flacco unless something unforeseen happens. Or Lamar Jackson, he's just a dude. So you said you love it, so let's. I want to hear your input on it.
Okay, so I liked Lamar Jackson as just the athlete itself. I think he's embodiment of what Michael Vick was when he came out, and Michael Vick was a stud. Now, I think it's perfect location with Baltimore because he's not going to start right away. He has a chance to win with Joe Flacco, and a lot of people don't like Joe Flacco, but I think Joe Flacco he's still a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's still a quarterback. He's been a quarterback for a long time, so he definitely has lots you can learn from him. And once that offense really turns around, it's to be really good.
Yeah, it could be fun. One last thing I want to touch on, just because this is where we projected him to go. Darius Geis falls to the late second round. He goes to the Redskins, 59th overall. I mean, that's right there at the end of the second round. So I want to hear, all right, how does this affect his stock? Where do you think he goes within our drafts?
I originally thought Geis was going to go to like a team like Detroit or a team like Tampa Bay and stuff like that. So
and they all took running backs before while he was on the board.
So it's definitely concerning. Redskins, I mean, in terms of location, I think it's a pretty good ideal situation for him. I mean, Samaje Perine is not going to be that guy that's taking over, so I think Geis can go into an offense that's not going to need him to run a lot. He has Alex Smith throwing the ball. So location, the situation is good.
Situation's good. It's not my favorite. They still have Chris Thompson there, and he's shown to excel in the passing game. So I think that limits some of.
But he does play in the NFC East, who are notoriously bad.
So we're gonna have Geis, Barkley, and Elliott all play each other twice a year. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And then the off the field concerns. You know, we heard that he got in a shouting match with Philadelphia at their meeting, and a lot of people think he's just, you know, not committed and wants to play video games all the time. So that's some of the off the field stuff that's coming out about him and why he was falling in the
What do you
draft.
think this affects his in fantasy drafts?
I think in fantasy drafts, he's not the clear-cut 102 anymore, but he's still in that conversation 2, 3, 4 overall. So if some of those concerns pop up and you'd rather go with a Nick Chubb, Rashad Penny, like, hey, I understand it. If I was in the same situation, you know, that's what I'm going to be thinking
Always
about.
draft to the guy that you like. Don't get peer pressure. Okay, this guy, everyone's talking about this
just
guy.
because the ADP says Geis has to go 102 doesn't mean
right.
if you see Chubb as a guy that you really like, or Rashad Penny as a guy you
this
really
guy
like.
right here drafted Arian Foster in like the 10th round of a draft, and that guy blew up. So don't follow like the ADP. Just draft the guy you like, okay? That's all. But other than that, guys, that was our first round evaluation of the fantasy relevant players.
Right.
Next episode, we're going to talk about the second round and everything like that. But please,
We'll tie the second and third together in the next round. Spot.
Don't forget to tweet at us on Twitter, @PhillipsMCP. Don't forget to tweet at us at Dynasty Pigskin. Scott, what's your Twitter digits?
@ScottOiler17. That's OYLER.
Other than that, guys, stay beautiful. Always make sure you wear your ankle candy. I got these beautiful hamburger ones right here. It's pretty amazing, I know. Other than that, cover the ankles up. You guys, be safe, be cute. I just said cute. It's weird.